Welcome back to another mini episode of the Authentic Man podcast. I'm your host, David Chambers. I'm a men's dating, relationship and intimacy coach, guiding men to deeper relationships, and in particular, really guiding avoidant men out of the fear, overthinking and worry that plague them from committing into depth and interesting and connected relationships, and guiding them to openness, freedom and joy in connection. So today I'm going to talk about the signs you're an avoidant man, because what I'm seeing a lot is men who are like, oh, I'm not sure. Am I avoidant? Am I not? And I've got a few episodes that are a bit longer, right? So if you listen to this one and then you just, search this podcast plus avoidant, you'll be able to find the other episodes. I've got one that came out in the last few months that really give you signs you're avoidant, but then also I give you some strategies to get out of it, right? Strategies to connect with depth and understanding and find that relationship that you really want, because I believe that avoidant men really do want a relationship. They're just afraid. I was afraid. I was an avoidant man, very afraid of commitment and so forth. And when that would come up, it would terrify me and it would push me out of relationships. But deeply down, I really wanted a relationship. I really wanted to be understood. I really wanted connection. But I'm starting to get into the science. So the first thing is around commitment, since I've started there, is kind of like seeing commitment as like a trap, as something that takes away freedom, being restrictive, being a burden, like all those things that kind of come to mind. There's a lot of schools of thought that, commitment isn't good for men or it's not natural for men and stuff like that. And I think that's all bollocks, if I'm honest with you. Commitment makes a man a better man. Simple as that. When you commit to things, all the things you want in your life and you desire, and this is outside of relationship, all the things you want and desire. Actually, it's also relationship, all the things you want and desire, I'll say again, in relationship that are meaningful and are really meaningful to you want and you desire, that make your life better, that would have you feel successful or be successful, depending how you look at it, require commitment, including relationships. If it's the job you want or the career or the business or the body you want, all of them require a commitment to a thing and to move through things that are difficult. And relationships are no different. They require commitment. So if you often find yourself feeling like you struggle to commit, or you're always like, oh, I'm not sure if this is right, is this the right woman? That's one of the kind of standard signs, or feeling that commitment is like painful, overwhelming or wrong. Or when a woman brings up questions like, hey, where's this going? Or what do you want from, this dating experience and stuff like that? And you find your internal sense of feeling of like panic and worry and stress and not knowing to say. That's one prime example signs that you are avoidant. The next one is you prefer short and casual relationships because they're easier. They're easier, they're less emotions, or less commitment, or less expectations, and less sense of that you could, hurt someone or you could fail. That's another really prime example as well. The third one is you tend to kind of shut down or stop talking or disengage from conversations when the emotions start to get heightened, especially in relationship. So say the commitment conversation comes up, you find yourself almost like completely cutting out from the conversation, like not speaking, not being able to say anything, worrying about saying the wrong thing or upsetting or hurting other person, or even feeling almost like you're disassociated from the conversation. Your like mind just starts to wander elsewhere as if you're no longer there. That's a kind of prime example I see for myself and also my clients. And then inside of that is this fear inside of emotional conversations or difficult conversations that you're just going to make it worse by speaking. And the fourth one here I've got is when you are in a committed relationship, you kind of spend your whole time worrying about, is this the right person? Is it the wrong person? Can I be with this person forever? All these sorts of questions around rightness and wrongness of person and relationship swirl around your mind and kind of really take over your ability to enjoy the relationship. The fifth point here I've got is criticism. You really feel like when a partner criticizes you or gives you feedback that you interpret as criticism, it just feels like they're telling you you're not good enough and that you're broken and you'll never be good enough. That's what you feel. That's what you hear. Even if you can kind of look at the plain day of it, later on down the line and be like, no, they were just telling me that, they want me to be better. But in the moment, what you feel is this sense of like failure, wrongness, not good enoughness. The sixth point here is about expressing emotions. Like expressing emotions and feelings just don't come naturally to you, right? It just feels uncomfortable. It feels awkward. It feels like unnecessary, or it feels, almost painful. And it's this sense also that's like emotions aren't important. Like, your feelings are important, or you've been made to feel in your life that your feelings aren't important as well, right? And you also sometimes it's coupled with, especially when you date anxious women, which is quite common for avoidant men, is this feeling that her emotions are more important than yours, or you feel that her emotions become more important inside the relationship or inside the dating situation. And the 7th point here is around being comfortable with your partners or dates, the person you're dating or your partner, their kind of what we would call negative emotions. Like if that's anger or frustration or disappointment or annoyance or a feeling of letdown that she's expressing towards you, especially if it's about you, there's this incredible feeling of like uncomfortability. Like, again, a sense of feeling like you've done something wrong, you fucked up. Like it's like there's this heaviness that you sense, heaviness that you feel like it's all your fault. Even if it is something you've done, it doesn't necessarily mean it's that you're bad and wrong, but there's sense and feeling of being bad and wrong just from her expressing these kind of feelings and emotions. And the next point here, the 8th point, this is a funny one because this is something I used to do a lot, is you feel that all women are overly sensitive, overly emotionally sensitive especially. They're like, they cry all the time, they get upset about stuff, they catch feelings too quickly. All those kind of things have rolled around your mind and you thought them and maybe said them out loud, right? These are the things that these are one another kind of prime examples, prime signs of being avoidant. The 9th one here I have is that you find yourself just being too picky when it comes to partners. You can see you're always looking for faults. You're looking for the thing to criticize. You're looking for the thing that's wrong with them, right? You're not necessarily consciously doing it. You don't really try to. It's just a habit that you have, a perpetual habit that you have, especially in relationship, but this could be in other areas of life, always looking at what's wrong. This highly negative focus that you've often been in. And this can lead to, if you do start to get into a relationship, or even I've seen this in men where they just start dating somebody and on the first date, in the first hour, they've already decided they don't want to date someone because there's too many wrinkles on her face or like the job she does. And then it's just like, you can't even listen to anything else because all you can think of that negative thing. Or if you're in a relationship, it can be the way someone has sex, the noise they make, how they sleep, all these sorts of things. We become hyper focused on these negative attributes and they become huge for you. They become oversized in the relationship in comparison to the positive things, which you also have a habit, adding to this as an avoidant person, having a habit of underplaying the positive things, especially in partners, especially in female partners and in relationships. The 10th point here is around a habit of seeing relationships as negative, perpetually negative, right? It's just like seeing relationship negative. If you're listening to this and you ever follow Red Pill content and stuff, like this is what they are pushing at you constantly, that relationships are negative and that relationships mean that men lose and men get cheated on and all these things. I'm not saying that those things do not happen, because they do happen, but you'll find yourself with your focus is on that constantly around the area of relationship and so forth. Guilt and regret are really strong emotions that you feel often during a relationship, right? When you feel like you're not good enough, there's a sense of guilt. Or if you forgot something, you didn't do something right in a relationship, that your partner's upset about, you often feel guilt. And then when the relationship ends, there's a sense of regret that you feel, an intense feeling of regret. Because even though maybe you're in a relationship you wanted to end, when it does end, you're like, maybe it's okay. Maybe I could go back. Maybe, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, right? It's this sense of always like, also having his kind of rose-tinted past relationship glasses as well. Another point here is around struggling to feel intimately connected, like almost like you don't really know if you love somebody. This may be a perpetual question for you, like, do I actually love her? Do I not love her? So yeah, that's another point there. Another is about asking for help, like struggling to ask for help. like it feeling uncomfortable and difficult, or that people will say no, or people will reject you. You know, you can often be quite sensitive to rejection from other people, or other people's no's feeling really kind of harsh, or proving to you that no one wants to really help you. No one's really going to be there for you either. I'm going to start to wrap up these. I've got loads of these, but one of them here that kind of leapt out to me is around never feeling accepted in your relationships. Never always feeling that your partner's trying to change you and they don't accept you for you as you are and who you are. But maybe this is a deeper thing. You felt this about your parents. You felt this about friends. You know, it's a really common thing for avoidant men. Another sign is actually around your level of effort you make in making contact with people and friendships. You will forget to reply to people, or you won't bother to like contact dates afterwards. You know, there's just this like apprehension to make effort, you know, and put oneself out there and risk being rejected or not responded to. And this can show up in relationships, in romantic relationships. It can show up in friendships. It can even show up in how you are with your family and so forth. It's just us like not putting this energy out often. And then the last one I think I'll touch on is this kind of high value on independence and self-reliance, on like, I can do everything myself. I'm self-sufficient. I'm a lone wolf. And I did a short podcast episode about that a couple of weeks ago. It's kind of like, this pride around doing everything yourself, this independence, seeing independence as the best way to be, not really realizing that interdependence is actually a much higher form of dependence. And, you know, that comes up for you. You're not even realizing that if you were to be interdependent with other people and so forth, you could create real magic in your life, be that in relationship or in your personal life as well. Even if you are in interdependent structures like work and career and so forth, you can be very independent within those. There's some really common traits of an avoidant person. So if you've listened to this and you're like, oh shit, a lot of these are me, not all of them, but a lot of them, then the chances are you're avoidant, right? And that's okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. You know, as I say, I'm an avoidant man. Commitment for many years was something I really avoid. I didn't believe at one point I could be committed, and now, you know, I'm about to have a baby. So I've come a long way. I've come a really long way, actually, to be honest. And I've seen many men come a long way, actually, with just some guidance and help. So if that's you, you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh shit, that's me. Like I said, go back, just have a little look at some of my past podcast episodes where I talk about avoidance very directly and also strategies to get out. But if you're looking for some more support around this, kind of a community of men, I'm creating a group program that's going to be starting in probably, I reckon, September time, late August, September, to help avoidant men and bring avoidant men together to shift and change, right? Because then you won't just feel like there's something wrong with you, because I know what it feels like often. So if you're interested in that, there's a wait list in the show notes. And if you add yourself to this wait list, right, you're going to get a huge discount off this program. At the moment, I haven't priced up and I haven't kind of completely finished it, but I know it's going to be, I've written programs before, so I know what it takes. And I've been through this work myself. So you're going to get a huge discount, and everyone likes discounts, right? And make it much more affordable for you and so forth. And I don't need to convince you, because you get that this is valuable, because you want a relationship, you want a healthy, loving, committed relationship. And it's going to take some work. It's going to take seeking help, maybe something that's hard for you to do that. But I'm going to stop there. You can add yourself to the wait list in the show notes, or you can send this to a friend of yours that could do, or a partner of yours that could do this. But I'll let you get on with your day. Ciao, ciao.